Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Unbettable. I'm Mondo here with Garrett Holmes. And guess what? We got a surprise for you. These next two episodes, that's right, two episodes fully dedicated to March Madness. If you are looking to bet, I suggest no other podcast than us. We are literally spending an episode breaking down half the bracket. Next episode's the other half. We got picks, we got analysis, and we got Gary. We don't know what the fuck's cooking up in that brain. So I promise you, this is where you need to come for March Madness picks. There's no better place. Before we get into it, guys, how was your weekend? What's going on? Talk to me, Gare. You're in a new spot once again. What's going on?
You know me, man. I'm Mr. Mobile, always on the run from some shit, but no, I'm just playing. This weekend was good. The release of MLB The Show 24 has completely taken over my life. I'm glad it's the week, so I actually have stuff to do now because I looked at my time played. In game time, I have 1 day and 12 hours played. The
Jesus
game
Christ.
has been out for 3 days. Um, but I'm about 6 cards away from Babe Ruth. And then in between playing all these games, I've been watching all the prequels, all the Star Wars shows. But yeah, I'm home right now because my parents went on a cruise and I gotta watch my sisters. So yeah.
Very cool. Holmes, how we doing?
It's been going good, man. We've been watching a ton of sports this weekend. Florida had a great weekend, made it to the SEC final in men's basketball. We are back. Todd Golden gets a very nice extension, well deserved for the Gators. We're excited to have him in the future of the program. Baseball got it done, took down Texas A&M in 2 out of 3 games, made their undefeated record go bye-bye. So it's been a good weekend, man. Selection Sundays, I've been going super hard on trying to just look at all of this bracket shit today. So I am just excited to get into some March Madness talk.
Love it. Love it. For everyone out there, I am hungover as shit today. It's been a bender of a weekend, going from birthday parties to St. Patty's Day celebrations, and I've suffered through the entirety of today. But that doesn't matter because now it's time to talk bracket. Without further ado, let's get into the East section of the bracket. We'll start off number 1 UConn at number 16 Stetson. For those who don't know, UConn is my personal pick to win it all. I know, shocker, who would have guessed? But with that being said, I do have one play coming into this game. That is Stetson plus 26.5. The first game is always a lot slower, always a lot less points scored, especially for those top seeds. So it felt kind of a no-brainer when you're given 27 points to a 16 seed like Stetson, who is very fast-paced, can put up a lot of points when needed, and is ultimately not that bad of a team, despite what everyone thinks. So that's kind of where I'm standing, Holmes. I would love to hear your analysis heading into this game.
Honestly, this is probably one that I do not have much for on this game. I mean, this is just a classic. UConn should win and get out of there as quickly as possible to not force any injuries or have anything happen to that team that could be detrimental down the stretch. I mean, I agree with you. They are a championship favorite in my eyes as well. I think this could be one of the teams that can actually win it back to back. And nobody has done it since Florida did it back in 2006, 2007. I think this is a great chance for UConn to be able to do it. And I do think that in that east side of the bracket, I know that there's some teams that they could have some trouble with running into it, but man, they have been such a solid team all season long. Only 3 losses. They ran through the Big East tournament. They're actually one of only 3 Big East teams that made it into the tournament this year. So I do think that they're going to represent the Big East pretty well. And I don't have a pick necessarily for this game. That spread is ridiculous. If anything, I will probably lean plus 26.5 with you. That is just so many fucking points for the first round of the games. But yeah, I mean, UConn, I think this is going to be an easy win for them. They'll move on to the round of 32.
Gary.
Yeah, I also agree that plus 27 is just disrespectful to put on a team's head. Everybody that worked their asses off this season is here in this tourney. And I feel like 27 for you to make it all the way there and get absolutely blown out like that is just crazy. So I would probably take plus 27. So Mondo earlier in the podcast said, "Oh God, it's Gary, whatever he's gonna offer for this analysis." So I have decided for every single round of March Madness, I'm going to be using a different method to make my picks. So for the first round, we are going to be talking team logos, and that is how I'm going to decide my pick. So obviously take this with a grain of salt. This is just for entertainment purposes only. UConn has a badass dog. Stetson has this lame ass S. I'm taking UConn.
right.
Thanks, Gare. Really insightful as always.
Hey, I
Love it.
mean, obviously UConn should win that game, so maybe it is an insightful pick.
I would love to see your record just throughout all of March Madness with your different methods. So make sure you keep track. Next, we got number 8 FAU, number 9 Northwestern. Now I know coming off the heels of last year's performance, FAU has definitely had what many people think of as a down year. Some people thought they shouldn't make the tournament. I personally thought they were an 11 seed at best. They obviously got compensated for last year with that 8 seed, but they do have a lot of returning players, a lot of kids who have been here before. So it's kind of a no-brainer to me. I mean, FAU averages 83 points a game. Northwestern does not, and their average differential for opposing points per game is like 6. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to hammer FAU in this game. I think I'll take the money line just to keep it short and sweet. Holmes?
Yeah, I'm going to be right there alongside with you on that money line. This is going to be, I think, a lot closer of a game than people realize. I get that it's the number 8 versus the number 9. But like you said, I don't think FAU had the best year coming off of that Final Four run last year. Big Cinderella moment for them last year. That was awesome. But I don't really expect them to come into this tournament, thinking that they're just not gonna they're gonna like continue to do what they did during the season and not play as well as they did. I think they absolutely want to get on the pace that they did in the last tournament. Again, this is going to be a tough team. Northwestern, they have some dudes over on that team, and it'll be, I think, a little bit more of a defensive battle than I think most people will guess out of this game, but I'm going to be right there with you. 140 on the money line. I don't really want to mess around with the spread here. It's been wobbling in between 1.5, 2.5. So I'm just going to stick with the money line here. Take FAU. I think this is a chance where they can get to the round of 32, but I hate to say it, I do not see them going much further than that.
All right, dumbass. Give me your choice.
Yeah, people like talking shit about FAU for how they performed this season need to wipe their eyes and look in the mirror. I mean, 25-8 is not reflective of a really bad season. Granted, last season was what really put them on the map, but I think that they really are not like a dog shit team. So for the reason that Hart was talking about with the spread that keeps shifting, I don't really like that because Vegas is trying to fuck you over in some way, shape, or form. So I would take FAU on the money line here. And then the bullshittery. Let's talk about logos. FAU, badass owl, Northwestern, lame ass N. I'm taking FSU, FAU for this game.
Thanks, Scare. Next up, number 5, San Diego State. Number 12, UAB. I'm gonna put this game on upset alert. I think it's entirely possible. UAB averages a hell of a lot more points per game. If they play good defense, they definitely have a chance to upset. With that being said, I looked at the first half spread. San Diego State is a team that tends to start out hot and cool down as the game goes on. I looked at that -3.5 at the end of the first. Seems like a no-brainer. So I'm going to hit San Diego State there and avoid that end of game total.
Yeah, I think that's you go ahead, Garrett. Go ahead.
No.
All right. I am going to pick UAB in this upset spot. I'm not going to take them on the money line. I am going to take the +7.5 that they're giving me. I think that that's a good amount of points for UAB to be getting here. I think a lot of people know these 5 to 12 matchups. These tend to be the spots where you see the most upsets: 5 and 12, 4 and 13. These are matchups every year where teams get got. And I do think that this is a spot where San Diego State can get got. UAB has won 5 out of their last 5. They've been rolling with a lot of momentum. And as for San Diego State, they haven't looked that great in their last 5. 2 wins in their last 5. One of them was an OT win against UNLV, but they've taken losses in OT to Boise State, UNLV, and a great University of New Mexico team that we will talk about very soon. So I just think that SDSU is going to really underestimate UAB here. I think this is a great opportunity for UAB to get an upset. But as far as the betting goes, we're just going to be a little safer here. Take the spread plus 7.5 UAB. That's what I'm rolling with.
Go ahead, Gary.
Plus 7.5 points is a lot of points to give this team, so I would take that. And what's kind of crazy is I don't really know much about either of these two teams, but everybody is gassing up UAB, and UAB does have a badass like dragon as their logo, so I'm gonna take UAB for this game.
I mean, it sounds like you're not really doing the logo thing. You're listening to the outside sources to me.
I mean, but like
I
the
don't know,
past
Holmes. What do you
3,
think? Is there an asterisk by this first round already? We're 3
bro,
games in.
all 3, okay, the
That's
two
a
teams
tough look, bro.
all 3 of these matches have been actual logo versus just letters. And all 3 of these times I've taken the actual logo team. You feel me?
Maybe it's your description, but you're not selling me here.
So like Northwestern, an N, Stetson, an S with like some bullshit in the middle. San Diego State is just all their letters layered.
Okay.
I think it's valid.
All right, Gary. Next up, we got number 4 Auburn, number 13 Yale. Yale obviously making it in after an incredible run, buzzer beater to win it. Auburn obviously taking down Gators in the SEC championship. Both of these two teams are hot right now, and I mean scalding hot. Auburn this year averaged 83 points a game. I expect them to get to an early lead against Yale. Both of these teams are known to also be extremely defensive, averaging that 66, 68 points a game. I don't think that's going to matter here. I'm going to be straight up with you. I really don't. I'm going to take Yale, Auburn over 140.5. I think this is one of those games that, typically you won't see, defense be as focused on, or you'll see a lot more mental mistakes, which lead to baskets. I think this is one of those games. So I'm going to take over 140.5.
All right, all right. I'm gonna go the other way on that. For a little bit different reason, I'm gonna take the under 140.5 here because both of these teams ran through their conference tournaments. Auburn obviously won the SEC. Yale wins the Ivy League. I think this is going to create a little bit of fatigue between these two teams. I think there's going to be a lot less points scored. They're going to have to rely a lot more on defense. Auburn and Ken Pom is 4th in adjusted defense. They have one of the best defenses in the nation. And you definitely saw that on display if you watched the final against Florida. I mean, Florida could not knock down threes. As soon as Micah Handlockton unfortunately went down with a horrible injury, the rebounding was just not there for Florida. Auburn was all over the glass. They were able to keep Florida at bay for pretty much the entirety of that game. So honestly here, I am probably going to go with the under 140.5 here. And then I was also going to look at trying to take Auburn on the first half spread in this game because I love the way that they are able to kind of overpower you early in games and then really strangle you in the second half defensively, not allowing you to catch up, not allowing you to really get yourself back in the game. I think Bruce Pearl is an amazing coach out there for Auburn. I have a lot of respect for that team and that program. So I do think Auburn is going to roll here, but I will take the under in this game. Hate to go against you on that, Mondo.
It's all right. All right, Gary, this is a major one. What are you going to do between these two letters?
Realistically, bro, Auburn has been on fire. Like watching them in the SEC tournament, I was like, oh fuck, here we go. Like, because it's like a Gator basketball fan, I think everybody just has this natural rooted hatred for Auburn basketball. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like that's just one of those things. But for this game, I like Yale plus 12.5. I feel like that's a pretty solid margin, and like Hart was saying, Yale went on a run to win their conference. Now let's talk letters. A Y versus an AU. I like the color orange better in this case, so give me Auburn.
Okay.
There's
Very
fair.
nice, Gary. Next up, we got BYU, the number 6 seed versus Duquesne, number 11. Duquesne has quite a name on their team in Day. That man is an electric player, averages 17 a game. But he's going to get shut down by BYU. Give me BYU minus 9.5 in this game.
Yeah, I don't have a specific play on this game, but as far as a team to advance, I like BYU in this situation too. Do not count out Duquesne. I think this will be a closer game than the spread indicates in this game. But I have watched BYU in the Big 12 all season long. They have looked like a great team, especially shooting the ball. If they get hot from three, there are going to be very few teams that are going to be able to keep up with them. Their offensive efficiency is very nice. I like BYU in this spot, but if I were to lean a pick, I might take Duquesne on the spread just to keep it a little bit closer because of how well that they played in their conference tournament. BYU losing to Texas Tech in their conference tournament, they get some time off, hopefully some time to readjust and think about what they want to do moving forward. But I can see this game being a little bit closer. I will take BYU to move on to the round of 32.
Yeah, I agree with Hart here. I mean, the logo speaks for itself. That's really all I have to say about this one. Different colors, add some variation to it. Give me BYU.
Thanks, Gare.
Love it.
Hey, I mean, bro, all I want to say is I've been on track with this. Every single pick that I've made based on logo has also been y'all's picks. So,
I mean, you got to respect it.
I know, bro. I know. All right. Next up, we got number 3, Illinois versus number 14, Morehead State. Number 3 seeds win 85% of the time against number 14 seeds. This one will be no different. Illinois is going to smoke them. Question is by how much? And the answer is it doesn't matter. Illinois, Morehead State over 147.5. Draw it up. Illinois averages 85. Morehead averages 75. You add that up, and that's way more than what you need.
Yeah.
So that's all I gotta say.
quick
Yeah,
maths.
definitely. I'm going to be rocking that over with you as well. I think Illinois rolls here. They are number 3 in adjusted offense in KenPom. They are one of the best offensive teams in the nation, like you just said, averaging 85 points a game. They are putting up numbers on the offensive side of the ball. Morehead State, too, they have not played since March 9th. That is a long layoff for a team in between their conference tournament and in between March Madness. I think they are going to come out a little bit slow. I think this is another game where I will be looking at Illinois to cover a first half spread because I think, again, Illinois, they're going to get out with a hot offense. They have been rolling their past few games. And with that long layoff that Morehead State has taken, I think they are bound to come out slow against this team. So they're going to have to play a lot of catch up ball against Illinois. I love the over in this game. I love the first half spread. Illinois to the round of 32.
Arr. That was fun. All right, now this game I got a little bit of bias on. My dad has been texting me every single time Illinois plays saying, "Oh, did you see Illinois? Yada yada yada." And that is because he is from Illinois. So I'm just gonna take Illinois outright to win this game. I'm sorry for the logo connoisseurs putting that to the side for this one. Give me Illinois.
I'm putting an asterisk on this round.
All
Put
right,
a massive asterisk.
well, motherfucker, if I pick the
Don't
Eagles,
motherfucker me. You say you're doing it one way, and you don't. That's
that's my
not.
free
You know
pick.
what
I
I
get one
mean?
free
Like,
pick. I get one free pick every round. I get one free pick every round.
oh, we're just making up rules as we go. We're gonna get down here. Next one's gonna be 2. Here we go. All right, we got Washington State. We got Drake. We got Drake minus 1.5. Drake is pulling off this upset, not just in a historic fashion. They are going to smoke Washington State. I don't even know how Washington State is a higher seed than Drake. It makes absolutely no sense. Drake averages 80. Washington State averages 74. That's a 6-point difference. There's also another 3-point difference in defensive points per game favoring Washington State. Still doesn't matter. It's a whole 3-point average in favor of Drake. Spread -1.5. That covers right there.
Yeah, I'm going to take Drake straight up on the money line here. I think this is an upset spot here as well. This game is going to be tough though. This is about, I think, as close to a coin flip game as you can see. I honestly do not think Drake is going to blow Washington State out here. I think this is going to go down to the wire. But Drake being a favorite in this spot tells me a little bit of something about how Drake has been playing this season compared to Washington State out there in the Pac-12. Both of these teams don't have the greatest strength of schedules on their resume, but both have done more than enough to be able to earn their spot in the tournament this year. I like Drake in the spot. I'm going to take him on the money line, -125. I think that's the way to rock right here. Yeah, I think Drake's getting it done and moving on.
I'm gonna take the other side of the coin this time. I gave myself a free pass last time. Washington State's logo, let's talk about it for a second. The flow in this logo is impeccable. They perfectly fit in the letters, just flows perfectly. Drake's logo low-key looks like the bulldog is humping the letter D. The dog is riding D. That's sus. I don't really fuck with it. Give me Washington State +1.5.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll take it. Number 2, Iowa State. Number 15, South Dakota State. The last matchup in the East. I'm going to tell you guys right now, Iowa State is electric. Don't get me wrong. South Dakota State is a sleeper to put up some points. An absolute sleeper. These guys dominated in their conference. They let up a lot of points per game, but they sure as hell know how to score. I'm going to take South Dakota State +16.5.
I think that's a pretty good bet, honestly. That's not bad at all. I did not have a pick on this game specifically, but I do think Iowa State is Iowa State, honestly, in one of my brackets is going to make it to the Elite Eight. Like, I love this team. Everybody thinks that Houston has the best defense in the nation. Houston is number 2 in adjusted defense on Ken Palm. You know who number 1 is? Iowa State. And Iowa State gave it to them in the Big 12 championship. If you watch that game and you didn't know about Iowa State, you know now.
Yep.
This is a team that can go very, very far in this tournament. Now, their offensive numbers obviously are not as great as their defensive numbers. I think they're rated 55th in offensive or adjusted offense in Ken Palm. So I don't really love their offensive side of the ball, but to have that great of a defense, to be that just great on the defensive side against all of these teams, especially a really, really great Houston team that's ranked 17th in adjusted offense in Ken Palm and a big favorite to possibly win it all this year. I really, really love Iowa State in this spot, but I will consider, Mondo, taking that +16.5 because I like what you said about South Dakota State there.
I think +16.5 is another disrespectful ass spread. So I would ride that with y'all. But let's get down to it. The logos. San Diego has a Jackrabbit. Iowa State has I-State. To be honest, the Jackrabbit isn't really intimidating me like Iowa State is. Iowa State screams, we are an old school. We got power. It just looks OG. A rabbit? A little rabbit, bro? Come on.
This is horseshit.
Might as well fucking put Bugs Bunny on your school.
I mean, you might as well just make your picks outright and stop saying it's about the logo.
I'm being dead ass.
Holmes is smiling up here. He fucking knows it too, dude.
I just think it's hilarious. I just love this. I love this so much.
I don't fucking like the rabbit.
This
I don't
is
like it.
Crazy.
Okay.
Crazy.
Okay. Are you done? Can I speak?
Yeah.
I don't fucking like the rabbit. End of discussion.
Weak shit.
Whatever.
All right. Number 1 pick to come out of the East. I'm going UConn. Holmes?
Oh no! Oh yes, pick to come out of the East. I like you're saying to the 4, 100% UConn as well. I think it Listen, there is going to be some tough teams on that stretch. If they match up with Auburn down the stretch, that's going to be a tough game. They match up with Iowa State, that's going to be a battle. But I think this team has been too good all year long. Again, like I've said, this is the team that can repeat and do what nobody else has been able to do since the Gators back in the early 2000s. So, yes, UConn to the Final Four out of the East.
Do I dare ask?
Are we doing this based off logo?
Based off logo,
Oh.
gotta
Call
love
me
Think about it.
crazy.
Think
Call
about
me
it.
crazy. Sorry. I'm gonna take Washington State.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
that's the cleanest logo, and that's what we're doing it off of. I'm not lying. No cap in my
Yeah.
rap. Again, if you're watching this, take this with a grain of salt. Do not put all of your money on this shit. This is purely for entertainment. I'm taking Washington State. Let's see what happens.
Okay, let's move on to the West. This is the game that I do not have a pick for. It's number one North Carolina versus either Howard or Wagner. It doesn't matter. Whatever the spread is, hammer it with North Carolina. Neither of those two teams deserve to be in this tournament, if we're being honest here. North Carolina is going to wipe the fucking floor with them. Holmes?
Yeah, I gotta love North Carolina in this spot. I don't think this is at all a situation where the 16 trumps the one. North Carolina, very, very balanced on both sides of the ball. Number 6 in adjusted defense, number 24 in adjusted offense in Ken Palm. I mean, they are just great on both sides of the ball. And I think this season is very indicative of not only the coaching of that team, but the players on this team as well, rebounding from such a shit season last season. If you remember 2 years ago, they were in the finals. They were in the March Madness finals. And last year, they did not even make the tournament. They have had a fantastic rebound season. They have looked great. RJ Davis, Armando Bacot have been really, really big leaders for this team. I think those two guys in themselves can will this team to go very, very far in the tournament. So, yes, North Carolina here, I will be hammering them for sure.
UNC's, man, their logo is just a certified hood classic. The colors, the colorways that have been put on shoes because of UNC. I mean, it's all there. The proof is in the pudding. I'm taking UNC.
Now, let me ask you, is this also because there is no logo on the ESPN bracket page for Howard and Wagner?
What?
What?
All
Yeah,
right.
bro. I know you too well at this point.
All
Bro.
right. Let's do some research.
All right, you do
Howard.
your research. We'll keep going, bro.
All right.
All right, number 8, Mississippi State. Number 9, Michigan State. I don't care what you guys say. This is the upset. Michigan State should not be ranked lower than Mississippi State. I think it is outrageous. Tyson Walker alone is going to have a performance of a lifetime, and the Michigan State defense is going to smoke Mississippi State. With that being said, I will take the over 130.5. I feel like that was a little bit low, considering both of these teams on average let up more points per game than that anyway combined. So 130.5. I was kind of shocked that was even a line for this. But Holmes, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll hear Gary's picks for everything else.
Yeah, honestly, I am going to ride Mississippi State here for plus 100.
Really?
I like them in this spot just because I think that they have performed better against good competition. I don't think they necessarily wake up really well against shitty competition. And kind of just looking at it in the past 5 games that they've played, especially in the SEC tournament. I mean, it wasn't in the tournament, but they took us a very good South Carolina team to the wire in OT and only lost by 4. A great win against LSU, and a really great win against a fantastic Tennessee team. They blew them out in the tournament. I mean, that was one of the biggest surprises of the SEC tournament to see Mississippi State play that well. I think
Mhm.
that gives them a lot of confidence going into the tournament. They lose, obviously, to the eventual champion in Auburn, but I do like this spot for Mississippi State to be able to get this win. I think a lot of people might go Michigan State here just because of the brand, how well they've been in recent years. Just their overall college basketball prowess, I think will have a lot of people leaning toward Michigan State, Michigan State in this game. But I think Mississippi State, they're also a decently balanced team, number 20 in adjusted defense in Ken Palm, 60th in offense, so it's not the greatest, but their strength of schedule has actually been pretty good. They've held up really well. A 21-13 record in the SEC is nothing to shy away from. So I'm going to ride Mississippi State for the plus 100 money line here.
Let's get down
Very
to
fair.
it. I mean,
First, UNC, Wagner,
oh, we're gonna talk
Howard.
about that first. Okay. Yeah, so Howard's logo is like a buffalo. That's pretty raw. Wagner's is like some bird or something. So if UNC was going against Howard, I would take Howard purely based off the logo. But if it was against Wagner, I'm taking UNC. Let's talk about what y'all were talking about now. Michigan State logo is clearly superior to Mississippi State. So give me Michigan State.
All right. Next up, number 5 St. Mary's versus number 12 Grand Canyon. I don't really have too much on this game. I am taking St. Mary's minus 5.5. I feel like they're in like a better conference. I don't think the points per game really like shows the proof in the pudding. I do feel like they play incredible defense. So I'm gonna go St. Mary's in this.
All right. Very fair. Very fair. I think I am going to ride with the upset here. I kind of like Grand Canyon in this spot. I think this is one of those games where St. Mary's is a team that plays very slow. They're a very good defensive team. And I think Grand Canyon is going to look to up the pace a little bit. And typically, when I see teams match up in these spots, a slow team versus a team that likes to play a little faster, the team that likes to play a little faster can definitely surprise teams that are really built to play slow, milk clock, play a lot of good defense, which it's really hard to pick against St. Mary's in this spot. Do not get me wrong, because again, I love what they're doing in the what is it, the WCC, Western Coast Conference they're in, West Coast Conference, whatever that is. I think they're a really good team. This is one of the hardest games that I think I've had to pick on this slate, but something is speaking to me about Grand Canyon University here. I think I'm going to take them with the upset. As far as a pick goes, I'm going to probably lean toward the 5.5. Money line is pretty juicy, plus 190, plus 200. So I may sprinkle a little bit on that for the upset factor here. But I like Grand Canyon to be able to keep it close, even though St. Mary's has played a lot of great defense. I think they're top 20 in Ken Palm this year in adjusted defense. So they are going to play a great brand of basketball out there. But I see Grand Canyon maybe coming out here with a very, very close win.
I love the intricacy of St. Mary's logo. I mean, this thing is intertwined to the T. To me, GCU kind of screams, this was my safety school logo. So I'm gonna go with St. Mary's here for this pick.
All right. Next up. What?
Nothing.
We got number 4 Alabama versus number 13 Charleston. I won't bullshit you. Both these teams put up a lot of points. Bama averages 90. Charleston averages 80. Neither of them play defense. They let up. I mean, Charleston lets up the least at 72. With that being said, 173.5 points is an absurd line for the first game of the March Madness tournament, where these players are playing for the first time, most of them. I am hammering that under like crazy. That is absurd that is a combined point total.
Yeah, honestly, I agree with you. That being so high, I get it. It is very indicative of both of these teams. They score a ton of points. We've been watching Alabama most of the season, just being in the SEC. and
Mhm.
they have just zero defense, all offense. That is all this team is built on. We have seen it through and through. I think Charleston is honestly going to be able to keep up with this team, and I'm going to take Charleston in the upset here. I think the 13 is going to get the 4. And the biggest reason I feel that this can happen is Alabama has struggled a lot down the stretch, and their confidence, when you see them play and they just get down by maybe like 5-6 points, that the life from that team gets drained. I've never seen anything like it. It's almost like they give up on the game. We've seen it in both of the games that they've played against Florida down the stretch. The game they played against Tennessee, they just seem to wilt away, especially when they are not leading by a very big margin. I really like Charleston with an upset here. As far as the lines go, I am going to wait on this total because if it keeps ticking up, because I do think a ton of people are going to be betting on this over. If that shit keeps ticking up, man, I think that gives you even more room to be able to bet an under here. Because, like you said, again, in the first game of March Madness, like it's so hard to think that both of these teams are going to come out and each put up 90 points. You know, like even if they both put up 80 to 81, that's 161 right there. That is way under the total by at least 10 to 12 points. And that's still a ton of points to be scored in college basketball. So with me, I'm gonna ride Charleston here. I might take them on the money line because I think they're gonna have a ton of juice. I think they're plus 380 right now. I think this is a great upset spot for them. But we're gonna keep an eye on that total because if that keeps ticking up, I think that under could be some easy money.
I really like the SEC to come out in this tournament and show these fuck boys how to play ball. But besides all that, I want to shout out the Gators for spanking Bama every single time we play them this year. But if I'm going off logo, the Alabama drip is unmatched. Like if you see Alabama on a Saturday, how those girls dress up, how the guys dress up, is something that is not comparable. And I think that kind of
logo.
speaks through the A in the Alabama logo, just that the southern feel. So for that reason, I'm riding with Bama for this game.
Okay. Number 6, Clemson. Number 11, New Mexico. Short and sweet. Clemson is considered an underdog here. They aren't going to let that stand. Give me Clemson money line. Keep it quick for you.
I'm gonna take another upset. I think this is another great upset spot. I love New Mexico here. New Mexico, another one of those teams, very balanced. Number 23 in adjusted defense, number 41 in adjusted offense in Ken Palm. Clemson, their numbers, where I got them here, they're 27 in adjusted offense, not bad at all, but they're 67 in adjusted defense. I think they're going to give up some points in New Mexico here. And New Mexico has been on an absolute roll. I mean, they steamrolled their conference tournament. They have all the momentum on their side. I really like New Mexico to be able to get a win here. So I will definitely be taking them on the money line.
Man, the wolf in this logo looks mean, bro. So for that reason, I'm taking New Mexico as well.
All right, we got number 3, Baylor. We got number 14, Colgate, the toothpaste. I'm going to take over 139.5. There's not much else to say here. I think Baylor's going to come up and put a lot of points on Colgate. They're obviously known for their defense, that being Colgate. That being said, Baylor, not a great defensive team comparatively. I mean, they let up a lot more points per game. That'll translate into points for Colgate in this. So I see that over 139.5 definitely hitting here.
I think that's a good bet on the total. I will probably end up riding that with you. Listen, Colgate, man, they have been looking for a tournament win for such a long time. Unfortunately, I do not think this is the spot that they're going to be able to get it. I have loved fading Baylor all season long. I think they have been in such vulnerable spots, especially in the Big 12 all season long. But in this matchup, I mean, Baylor, you're ranked 6th in offensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm. I mean, your offense is absolutely taking off, and I think they are going to roll here. I'm going to take the first half spread -7.5. I think they're going to get out to a pretty fast start. Maybe Colgate will end up making it a little bit closer in the second half. but I do like Baylor to be able to come out with a win here and move on.
Yeah.
Scary.
The logo for Colgate is absolutely just atrocious. It's a white C, stands for a brand of toothpaste. You could write after the C and make a funny word. Um, but so for that reason, I'm gonna take Baylor. I guess you could also write two T's after Baylor's logo, make a funny word. But yeah, give me Baylor.
God, you are so insightful.
Hey, it was come and but, if anybody was wondering the words.
All right, number 7, Dayton. Number 10, Nevada. Hammer the upset here. Give me Nevada -1.5. On paper, I mean, Nevada is definitely the better team. Top to bottom, you look at their roster, you look at the way they play. You know, they're 3-1 against top 25 teams. The BPI index, it doesn't really help them. That's absurd in my eyes. I think Nevada is a great team and are completely overlooked in this tournament.
This is another one that I struggled to pick. This for me was a coin flip. I mean, I have actually watched a couple of Nevada games this year, and they are not a bad basketball team. I do like the way that they play, but I think I have to just go with the higher seed here in Dayton. I really don't have much to be able to say about this game in terms of analysis. Again, this was one of the hardest ones that I had to pick too. If I had to flip a coin and it landed on Nevada, I'd pick them. If I had to flip a coin and it landed on Dayton, I'd pick them. So I'm gonna just rock with Dayton in this one. That's all I gotta say.
First of all, I want to pose a question to the listeners. Nevada or Nevada? How do you say it? Holmes said Nevada. Mondo said Nevada. I'm curious to see how you guys think you should say it. But anyways, the logo, Nevada, I think it's better. Give me Nevada. See, that's how I say it, Nevada. So, how do y'all say it?
Nevada.
I mean, it's a question. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's like a lot of people say tournament. I say tournament a lot, honestly. Like it's
well, and then another one like caramel or caramel or like Caribbean or Caribbean. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, some of that's just it's weird, man.
how do you say it?
Number 2, Arizona against number 15, Long Beach State. I'm hammering Arizona. I know we said those big lines are disrespectful. That should be the case for this game. Long Beach State has not played a top 25 opponent. Their averages have not shifted because of facing a top 25 opponent. I'm going to take Arizona -20.5. I don't think this is as big of a line as people think it is. I think Arizona easily covers, but if not by this, by a lot more.
Yeah, I think Arizona is going to roll here. Number 8 in adjusted offense. They have been putting up a ton of points all season long. And their biggest defect last season when they got bounced from the tournament earlier was their defense. They are number 12 in adjusted defense this season. They have worked on it a ton. I do think that they are going to be able to roll here. But as far as the 20.5 goes, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Long Beach State fired their coach maybe like a week and a half ago, and he was still coaching for the team. He willed this team to get into the tournament. I think that says a lot about what the players want to do for this guy, how they love playing for this guy. I think they're going to get up and give Arizona a little bit of a game there, maybe in the second half. So I do think they can keep it within the +20.5 spread. Again, how big this is. These numbers are just crazy between some of these 2s, 15s, 1s, and 16s. This is the side where I will definitely take the Long Beach State spread here just because of that factor with the coach. I think the players are going to get up and really, really rally behind him. But I do not see Arizona getting bounced out as early as they did last year. I think they definitely want revenge after they were touted as one of the biggest favorites to win it all last year. So Arizona will move on to the round of 32, but I will take Long Beach State to cover +20.5.
Yeah, God, I feel like such an idiot that I'm still doing this. But give me Long Beach if we're talking about logos. I kind of fuck with the font on it. So yeah, type shit.
Okay. Holmes, your pick to make it out of the West.
I hate to do it, but I think I'm going to go with the chalk here again. I like UNC to be able to make it to the Final Four. They are going to have a pretty difficult path in front of them as well. I know I picked a lot of upsets with Grand Canyon and Charleston, but it's very possible that St. Mary's, Alabama could get very, very far in this tournament. Those will be some tough teams that UNC would have to deal with down the stretch. Even if they meet up with Arizona in the Elite Eight, that could be an incredible game. But I just really, really like the story of this team this year, them being able to bounce back from not even making the tournament last year. This is a really, really big spot for them. And I do see them going very far. I'm not going to pick them as a champion by any means, but I do like them to match up with UConn in the Final Four. I will take that.
I'm on UNC. Gare,
Give me St.
who's your best
Mary's.
logo?
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's, that's your team?
I don't know what it is, man. I like it. It looks cool.
All right. That's going to do it for today's episode, boys. I mean, it's pretty short, sweet, to the point. We're delivering picks. We're delivering analysis. This is March. We are March. Get fucking ready for March Madness. We will see you guys on the next episode. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like, subscribe, share. Honestly, don't worry about sharing. Just make sure you're betting these picks. It's way more important. We want you to make money this week. Stay on the lookout for part 2 of the March Madness special. We will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.